television. I guess we'll start with TV stuff. So the big thing this week was Nick Douglas, who had me doing stuff for Slackatory back when that was a thing, which I got into through Alex Schmidt, who also got me the crack job, and I was doing the Time Machine visual effects for last week. It's all connected, crazy. He sent a message out to all the people who used to do videos for Slackatory and was like, hey, the folks at Vulture / New York Magazine are starting to do a series that's going to be like mashup videos and very similar stuff to what I did for Slackatory once a week, I think all summer long, maybe longer than that. And so I submitted some of the stuff that I've done in the past to Abraham, who I guess is doing the Vulture New York Magazine stuff, and he was like, great, send me some pitches. And so I sent him 15 pitches, and he's like, that's fantastic, these are awesome. And then he gave me a new pitch, and so now my first assignment, which he wants to jump on pretty quickly, is Spider-Gwen. Spider-Gwen meant absolutely nothing to me. I assumed as much, that it was Spider-Man, but instead of Peter Parker, that it was Gwen Stacy. That's correct. It's an alternate universe in the Spider-Man comic series where Peter Parker was not bitten, instead it was Gwen Stacy, and luckily enough, you know, Vulture sent me all the comics, or reimbursed me for getting the comics, which is a relatively new series, and it's really fantastic. I don't read a lot of comic books, but it was a really cool series to see come to life, and there's some really wonderful things that happen with, you know, Gwen's father being the chief of police, and the perceptions of Spider-Woman versus Spider-Man, and the characters, just a really, Gwen Stacy's a really fantastic character to inhabit that kind of wisecracky role of Spider-Man. So anyway, my assignment is to create a fake trailer for Spider-Gwen. So this is going to be Emma Stone, probably taking clips from the Amazing Spider-Man series, and then some other movies she's been in with some voiceover. My brother Matt's doing a really nice orchestral score for the trailer, and it might even be just like a minute long, but the idea is to just, you know, start to see what it would be like, and to gauge the public interest, I guess, for what it would be like for there to be a Spider-Gwen movie. And hopefully we can do a good job, and hopefully people appreciate it, and we'll see where that goes. I mean, this week I'm super busy with cracked stuff. Matt actually was working all week at Indian Head doing, you know, waiting tables and stuff like that. So and he had stuff going on with having a tooth pulled, very painful. You know, he had to go through like 4 days with like a cracked tooth and an open nerve. By the way, if that ever happens to you, yogurt. Yogurt is the thing that you can put on an open nerve, and it's kind of just the right consistency to kind of enclose it a little bit and help it feel better. So that's all good. So anyway, because he was working at Indian Head, I was doing much more cracked stuff, and there was spit take stuff, after hours stuff, you know, various projects this week that needed to get done. So I'm now working on the after hours stuff. Last week was a lot of a macro video, macro stuff, so gathering all sorts of footage from different movies, finding different scenes, relatively straightforward, but pretty time consuming. So there was that, and then I haven't really started the Spider-Gwen stuff yet, so that's all going on. Anyway, so that's kind of what's going on in my freelance life right now. No updates really right now on the Stephen Colbert stuff. What other freelance projects have I talked about? The Beauty and the Beast stuff. Those are both things that could pop back up at any time. They're just kind of dormant for now. But TV. So let's talk for a second about Hannibal. Hannibal, I think this past week, was officially canceled. Maybe it was longer than that ago. I'm super bummed about it, but it's kind of inevitable. The ratings were, simply put, abysmal, especially considering you have such pedigree as, you know, Gillian Anderson, who, of course, was a ratings bonanza on The X-Files. You'd think that she would have upped the viewership of the show a little bit. I think the episode that had aired right before they canceled the show had like less than 500,000 people, which for network television is nothing. So that being said, I was kind of hopeful that, like, oh well, you know, it's a show that people really love. Services like Amazon Prime and Netflix and even Hulu really thrive on finding kind of niche audiences. I think it's Netflix who said, or actually, sorry, I think Amazon said this, that they don't want to create a show that is everyone's second favorite show. They want to create a show that is for a certain group of people their absolute favorite show, which I think is a good philosophy, and leads to, I think, better television, because we all know what happens when a movie or a television show tries to water itself down and file the edges off so it doesn't offend anyone and kind of appeals to every single person out there in the world. Recent examples would be things like Jurassic World, and I think the new Terminator movie. Jurassic World, that worked out okay. The new Terminator movie, from what I understand, very inert, dead kind of, you know, stagnant movie. What a shame. So anyway, I had a fair amount of hope that Hannibal was going to get picked up by one of these other things. I knew Netflix was probably not a good bet because Amazon has the exclusive streaming rights for it. But a few days ago, the contract for the actors expired. Now, that being said, I know at least Hugh Dancy and Mads Mikkelsen, playing the lead roles. Can you hear that rooster, by the way? That's our neighbors. We're watching, by the way, our neighbors' rooster and chickens and cats this weekend. Totally random, kind of cool. I wonder if we'll have chickens one day. But yeah, so even though their contracts expired, I know that they love the show enough that if another service wanted to pick it up, they'd almost definitely be coming back. Gillian Anderson's a little bit more iffy. I know she loves doing the show, but of course she's going back to do, the X-Files reboot now and all sorts of other cool stuff. The Fall, maybe. I think there's another big movie I thought I heard she'd be in. That being said, Hannibal, I'm really enjoying the season a lot. I like the way it's playing with the Hannibal storyline from the book. I know more Red Dragon stuff is going to be coming up soon. I love the way that Jack Crawford gets to play a little bit of a role over in London. I'm not quite sure how I feel about Alana Bloom kind of turning to the dark side so quickly. Like, yeah, we know what happened to her at the end of last season, but for her to be so on board with like, yeah, let's kill Hannibal right away. I mean, she just never struck me as the kind of person that would be, I guess, that willing to go outside of the law, especially with someone like Mason Verger. I would have expected her to want to see Hannibal caught. And I mean, I guess in this most recent episode, we see her kind of backtrack on that a little bit, but it just seemed very out of character for her, so I'm curious what's going to happen with that. All the stuff happening with Lady Murasaki's apprentice and all that has actually been kind of boring. Like, this actress I liked in The Wolverine, playing opposite Hugh Jackman. In this, and it kind of goes back to, some of the stuff with Mads Mikkelsen and English being a second language. With Mads Mikkelsen, him, speaking English in a slightly hard to understand way, in many cases I find it charming. In her case, in many cases I just find it incomprehensible, and I'm not quite sure what to take from it. And it's not even the kind of situations where I really want to go back and re-listen to it, because, and this is no fault of the actor, I don't know if the scenes that they're giving her, especially with Will Graham, are all that interesting. I'm not sure where it's going. She pushed Will off a train in the most recent episode. That to me felt very much like a stalling tactic, like, oh, they're headed right towards Hannibal. Well, we have to put that off for a couple more episodes. Let's, push them away. That being said, the stuff with Potsy played out actually a lot quicker than I thought it was going to. I mean, mind you, in the movie, it's even quicker than that, but even within the TV show, I thought we were going to see Potsy have a little bit more of an arc, being tempted by the money and wrestling with, well, I want to be a good police officer and I want my name to be cleared, and instead they just kind of jumped right into him failing hard at catching Hannibal. So anyway, all that was enjoyable and good, and I really love the show as usual. It's beautiful, dark, tonally unlike anything else on television, and I really hope it gets picked up for a fourth season. There's a huge rumor out there, nothing that should be taken seriously, that right now Hulu and Amazon Prime are in a bidding war for it. If that's true, I don't see how Amazon Prime would possibly lose that, but who knows? Maybe Hulu's becoming more respectable or powerful. I mean, because Hulu, I think, was created by some of the major networks. I don't actually know anything about that. I'm not going to pretend I do. Anyway, Hannibal, still 5 stars, confidence of 5. Looking forward to whatever happens when we get back to America. And yeah, I hope it gets a season 4. And if it doesn't, then who knows? I'm just going to start mashing up stuff from Silence of the Lambs with these actors and just have my own little fan season 4. Yay, that's not sad at all. Other TV stuff, we're still watching Orange is the New Black, Halt and Catch Fire. Nothing really of note to say about those. I'm enjoying them, kind of going through. I'd like to get back into watching Penny Dreadful. Nothing really on HBO right now that I'm that excited about besides Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, which has been fantastic. I'm really enjoying everything John Oliver's doing with that show. And The Daily Show, by the way, I mean, all the stuff going on with like Donald Trump and Chris Christie and all the presidential nominees right now, as Jon Stewart said, it really feels like he's been sent to a comedy hospice. The material is just too good and too easy, and I'm loving these final weeks that he's doing his thing, and I'm really gonna miss him when he's gone. So maybe I'll talk more about that when he's actually gone. But that's kind of it for TV this week. Not a million things.